Man, Kwity Paye's addition to the Colts roster just makes everything so much better. You know, on draft day or after draft day, they was talking about if Darisaw was there, the Colts would have took him. I mean, I wouldn't have been mad at that decision either, but I'm pretty sure they had something in the bag. When Kwity Paye got picked, you just knew that the Colts had something in mind. And, you know, we wound up getting Eric Fisher later and a little bit more depth later on in that draft as well. But when it comes to a guy like Kwity Paye, who's probably the best edge rush in that draft class, he's going to make a big impact for the Colts defense. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be the best person when he gets on the roster because he is a rookie. So he's going to take some bumps and bruises and learn from him and improve his game going on down the road into the NFL. This is a rook going up against a bunch of veterans that pretty much knows their every move. So if he comes out in the press, I won't be shocked. But I'm pretty sure it's going to take a lot of help from guys like Eric Fisher and them in practice to get him ready for the games. You know, a guy like Robert Mathis on the Pat McAfee show, he mentioned that he used to go at it in practices, and he would try to study our left tackle's moves every single practice. And he'll try something new every time. So when he goes out and plays opposing teams, he already knows what he got to do to get to that quarterback. And Robert Mathis goes down as one of the best edge rushers in NFL history, and definitely probably the best in Colts history, in my opinion. So shout out to the OG Robert Mathis. But when it comes to Kwity Paye, it's going to take a little time for him to get well into the NFL. Now, no rookies out there is going to come out there and put on the show on the first week. I mean, it would be nice to go up the first week to go against the Seahawks, and a guy like Kwity Paye goes out there and has a big impact against a team whose offensive line is a little lackluster. So that could be a good welcome to the NFL party for Kwity Paye. And this is why I think Kwity Paye's impact makes the Colts defense a top 5. If you look last year, what was the main reason we were losing games from the defensive side? It was not the cornerback. It was the edge rush. The edge rush was non-existent last year. Now, of course, we had a few of them there, a few sacks or a few quarterback rush, but we didn't have the premier rush. We were just too slow off the edge. And when you bring a young guy in like Kwity Paye, who's destined and has an agenda, I feel like he's going to be that guy that really push our defense to that top level. Now, of course, our defense relies on pass rush. So adding him pretty much solves the problem, but it doesn't solve the problem. Having him on there, you know that it's going to be a predominant pressure when he comes into the game. So when he comes in the game and maybe he makes that impact or he's posed as a threat, they're going to have to figure something out to either stop Kwity Paye or DeForest Buckner from getting to that quarterback. There's going to be a lot of times where teams are double teaming certain guys, and it opens it up for everyone else to be successful. Like those blitzes on third down when Kenny Moore's coming in. Who are you going to stop on those blitzes? You got a guy like Leonard. You got a guy like DeForest Buckner. Maybe even Grover Stewart. You got a guy like Kwity Paye, and then Kenny Moore coming in. Those are 5 guys rushing the quarterback. And maybe Bobby Okariki's playing back, or maybe he's going to be the blitzer, and then Darius Leonard's in the coverage. All those guys are going to probably require more than one block to stop them from going to get that blitz. And that's why I think adding Kwity Paye is boosting the morale for the Colts defense. Now, of course, we're still probably going to have cornerback issues due to the defense we're running. But again, everything that affects of why we struggle is pretty much from the pass rush. The pass rush is so predominant with our scheme of what we run. I feel like that's going to have the biggest impact and affect us going into the future of next season. If the pass rush is there that we always ask for, our corners game will be elevated because it's going to force a few quarterback hurried up passes, and then that's going to make guys like Kenny Moore go get an interception, Julia Blackman, maybe even a Rock Ya-Sin. Those guys are going to be better with pass rush, helping them to go get a stop. And that's why I think our Colts defense would be way better than last year. Now, when it comes to Kwity Paye, man, Kwity Paye, when we drafted him, when the clock got closer, I just knew the Colts are going to go get that edge rush. Now, before it, I was like, man, we got to get a left tackle because there was so many people up there on the board. Then when Darisaw got picked and we didn't move up at all, our pick was definitely sold on Kwity Paye, and I am so happy we got him, man. I just can't wait to see him on the field in that Colts jersey and go out there and put on pressure. Even the Dayo pick. Dayo You know, you guys talk about his wingspan all the time, how athletic his arms is longer than LeBron James and all these things, how athletic he is. He doesn't have to have all the moves, and we're probably going to be moving him to the interior when he steps on the field. So having a guy like that, it just the things that pictures in my mind with a guy like Paye edge rushing. You got a guy like DeForest Buckner who's almost unstoppable, who makes an impact when he's on the field. And then you're going to have a guy like Grover Stewart, and then a guy like Dale who can pretty much swat the ball without even jumping by just putting his hand up. You know, the guy like J.J. Watt, when he puts his hand up, he pretty much swats down every ball that goes in his direction. When a guy like Dale steps on the field, I feel like he's going to have that same impact. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a J.J. Watt, but with his wingspan, he can become very crucial in a lot of plays. And his athleticism can help a lot. You got to have guys on the veterans in the locker room are going to really train guys like Dale and Kwity Paye to be the best that they can be. And if you have a guy in your corner like Robert Mathis, who is pretty much a dominant force every single year, in and out when he was on the field, he's been doing it for so long. And then he was almost 40 years old, still sacking the opposing quarterback. Man, it's just the Kwity Paye can have that effect for our defense. He really could. I'm not saying he's going to be a Robert Mathis. He's not going to be the best edge rush you ever seen. But him being on that field of what he can bring to the Colts, I feel like he's going to make a very big impact. And of course, granted, if he stays healthy, this Colts defense can go very far. I think a lot of people underestimate the Colts defense, or of course they do. They underestimate the Colts in general. Going into the year and out of the year, nobody really talks about the Colts at all. They're always saying we're underrated and all this other good jazz, or how we're missing this so-called piece. But I think we attacked the pieces, man. I really did. The only piece I really think we needed was a veteran corner and an edge rush. And we still don't really have that veteran corner yet, in my opinion. We do have Xavier Rhodes, but I think we still need another one, because I feel like we need so much more depth. I think depth really plays a role in these playoff runs and things like these to happen. So if something unfortunate happens, you have a guy that's always ready. I mean, of course, we do have those guys, but a veteran presence for a guy that's out there on the field that puts in the work. I mean, I'm so excited for the depth for what we have. But if we can add more pieces, I wouldn't be opposed to it as well. Maybe another linebacker, maybe another corner, maybe another safety just for security purposes. Another corner, another edge rush, maybe a veteran edge rush. He can come in every now and then, because some people can do some things others can't. And then when others learn from those guys, they can take that piece and install it into their game, helping each other. So all these things plays a big role into making a playoff run. But for sure, Kwity Paye being added to the Colts, of what he can do and what the potential he has, makes us a top 5 defense, and that's my opinion. But you guys let me know your opinion in the comment section on Kwity Paye and the Colts defense. Rank them right now before the season starts, even the preseason before it starts. Let me know your whole thoughts. This is Marcus, and until next time, you've been Culture Shock.